Hello, my name's Natalie Berry, Registration Manager at the Health and Care Professions Council, currently responsible for the continuing professional development process, which I'm going to refer to today as CPD. This video is aimed at a guide for students, and I hope you will find this helpful. Why is CPD important? Essentially, you are currently studying, but once you do qualify and go into your profession, becoming a health and care professional requires lifelong learning. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the different types of CPD and things that you can be doing now to help yourself ready for your career ahead. Also, the importance of CPD is that it allows, the lifelong learning I spoke about, but also to work safely and effectively, which will in turn have a benefit on yourself as well as your service user. The world in which you work, independent of which profession you get in, will probably be more than likely a fast-paced world with things changing all the time. And the key message is that once you do qualify, the learning doesn't stop there. CPD also gives you an opportunity to further develop in particular areas. And once you do go into your chosen career, there may be different types of that career that you wish to explore. And CPD allows you to do that. How is CPD achieved? Or how do I achieve CPD, shall I say? First of all, currently a student, but when you become also a registrant and a health professional, it is achieved first by taking ownership. We ask that all of our registrants, they are bound by our standards, and we ask that you do your CPD. There are different types of CPD that you can be doing, and you are the best person to decide what CPD you should be doing. You want to try and ensure that CPD is relevant to your scope of practice and within your current role, and also any future roles that you wish to take on. You may find that you do some CPD and actually you find, well, that wasn't actually that beneficial. That's absolutely fine. The key is to reflect. The two most important things I want you to take away from today, even though currently you are students, it's still very, very relevant, is that we ask for a mixture of CPD. So different types of learning, you'll probably find within your studies, you are doing different types of learning already. And I am going to go into in a bit more detail in the next slide, just, what types of activities you can be doing. But it's key to do a mixture, such as self-directed learning or formal study. Reflecting is the most, I feel, important part of CPD. It's all good and well going to a fancy course, for example, but it's what you learn from it. What were your objectives? What did you take from it? What didn't you learn from it? How will it benefit your current and future practice? How will it benefit your service user? These are questions that you should continuously be asking yourself, which you can also do as you develop and evolve within your studies. What CPD activities can I do? So I touched upon self-directed and work-based. Some examples of that is with work-based, you could be doing kind of shadowing with fellow colleagues, employees, to learn from any incidences that may have happened. There may be training courses that your employer may send you on. Professional could be that, you participate with your professional body in terms of some activities that help you further develop. Formal, as mentioned, that it could be that you do attend a formal course or a conference on a subject that you may find particularly interesting that will help you develop within your role. Self-directed, now we know that we have access to the internet these days. There's a ream of information. There are articles you can be reading. There's also online webinars, blogs, etc. that you could be kind of directing yourself to be continuously learning. And this could be something like voluntary work. So maybe as a sideline, you are doing some voluntary work, for example, that allows you to draw on your skills and knowledge within your profession. I do want to point out the examples I've given are just a very, very small snippet of what you could be doing in terms of activities. On our website, we have got a much larger list. Again, it's not an exhaustive list, but it just gives you some ideas of the CPD activities that you could be doing. What are our CPD standards? We have 5 CPD standards, which can be viewed on our website. I won't go through them word for word because I don't want to make this video too lengthy and kind of more straight to the point. But what I do want to do is recap what our standards are, just to give you kind of a good understanding. I would imagine, well, depending on where you are in your studies, you may be aware of our standards, but if you're not, I will just give you a recap. So you are not bound by these standards as it stands as students, but once you become registered with us, you are. And it's good now that you are as a student, either if you're in your first year or actually, you're coming up to, qualifying, it's good to kind of be aware of us as the regulator's standards. So the first standard is around essentially you doing your CPD when you become registered and keeping a log of the CPD, a continuous accurate log of your CPD. It's very important that you keep a record of your CPD, not just because if you're audited, we are going to ask to see that, but also for yourself. I mean, our cycles go over 2 years, so over a 2-year period, you may not remember what you've done last week, never mind 2 years ago. So it's good to have a look back on what you've been doing. It's also a good way to know that you've been doing a mixture or have been focusing a little bit too much on, let's say, self-directed learning, and actually you need to mix it up a bit. So talking about a mixture, that then takes us into standard 2. Now, standard 2 is to ensure that you are doing a mixture of CPD activities. The reason for this is that we are very mindful that you can only learn so much from one type of activity. So for example, if you're just attending loads of formal courses, there's only so much that you can learn from that style of learning. And this is why we say a mixture is very important. So we want to see that you've been doing a combination of formal, professional, work-based, etc. So it's very important to keep that mixture. Standards 3 and 4, I'm going to talk about them together because essentially standards 3 is ensuring that the CPD that you are doing is relevant to your current practice, but also it's benefiting you. Now, this doesn't mean that if you go and do a CPD activity, for example, and actually you didn't get what you thought you were going to get from it, that's absolutely fine. But the key, as I spoke about earlier, is reflecting. You may find that, information around that subject isn't relevant to you, or you may know a lot of it already, but it's fine because it's all part of the reflection. Standard 4 is ensuring that your CPD benefits the service user. Service user, as I explained, is, anyone affected by your practice. So again, depending on what kind of area you may go into within your profession, for example, if it's academia, your service user would be your students. If it's frontline, for example, depending on what, your profession is, it would be your patients or clients. So it's very important to understand who your service users are, and more than likely, you're definitely going to have more than one service user. We know with some professions that you may not directly work with patients, for example, and that's fine, but at the end of the day, your work may affect them. So essentially, they are still your service user, even if there isn't that direct contact. So it's just thinking about who is affected by my practice and ensuring your CPD is relevant to benefiting yourself as well as the service user. And then just to round up on the standards, standards 5 essentially is that if we audit you, we audit 2.5% of each profession at renewal time. Obviously, again, you're a student, so you don't need to worry about this for now. And you would need to be on our register continuously for 2 years before we were to audit you, to obviously give you a fair chance and enough time to do your CPD. But essentially, if you are audited, standard 5 states that you do need to engage in the process and essentially submit a CPD profile. So that's our standards rounded up, and I hope you found that helpful and just it gave you a better understanding. I'm just going to refer you now to some of the information we have on our website. Now, I am mindful that you are students and this information is ultimately directed at our registrants. However, it does not mean that you will not find it helpful. We have a load of information on our website. If I just get up, there's our direct URL to the CPD section of the website, and that is everything to do with CPD. We also have booklets, as you can see there, CPD and your registration. I refer this to kind of the everything of CPD. In that booklet, it will refer to absolutely everything, our standards, the activities I spoke about, different types of evidence that you could submit if you're selected, reflection, the importance of that. So it's well worth having a read of that booklet. It's also, we have sample profiles, which you can see an example thereof. I would definitely encourage you to have a look at the sample profiles. Again, you may feel, oh, I'm just a student, this is quite a long way off, but I think the sooner you start engaging with what is coming within your professional career, the better, and we really want to encourage that engagement. We know as students anyways that things like reflection probably are coming as second nature to you, which is great because that's really going to help you with your CPD when you become a health or care professional. So just to round up, I know you've seen this slide before, but what I thought would be nice is just to end it on this slide. to just recap and summarise, it's a short video, but it's kind of straight to the point and saying that becoming a health and care professional requires lifelong learning. And I'm pretty sure as a student, you know that and you're aware of that, but it's just to really emphasise as your regulator or your soon to be future regulator, shall I say, this is what we require of you. As an individual, you take that responsibility as a health and care professional to ensure that your skills and knowledge are up to date and to ensure that you are working safely and effectively. And we always try and provide as much support as we can and do put a lot of the ownership on the registrant, because you as individuals are best placed to know what CPD is best for your scope of practice. So I hope that you have found that useful. Of course, although you are students, if you ever have any questions, you can always contact our registration department with any questions, and we will always be happy to come back to you. But I hope that you found this video useful, and I'm going to end it there. So thank you for watching.